Alrighty. So today I'm super excited to talk about today because OMAD, that's what I'm going to talk about today, which is 1 meal a day, in case you guys don't know. And this is something that I was doing fairly often before. And, you sometimes just get out of certain routines and whatever. And, with everything going on in the world, I definitely have not been on my game at all. And OMAD has kind of been on the back burner for a while. And I'm not sure why. Because it always works so well for me and I really love it. But anyways, so now with everything going on and I've been just trying to think like, oh, how do I get myself back? The way I was feeling before. I was really struggling with, like a lot of you guys. I know a lot of you guys are feeling the exact same way, where you're just having a hard time getting back on or sticking to it, or you kind of go off one day and the next day you say today's going to be the day and whatever. And we all do it. Like I have been struggling for a couple of weeks and I've kind of realized why, besides the obvious stress, that's, elephant in the room there. But there are other reasons too that I've kind of realized, and OMAD just hits it out of the park for me for all the reasons why. So I definitely want to talk about that today, and I'm really excited. And if you guys haven't tried it, I'm hoping that you'll try it after we talk about it. And if you do OMAD, maybe you could pop in the group here and just say that you do it or you enjoy it or whatever. I'd be interested to see how many people do it. I'm having my awesome fatty coffee today. And this is one of my favorite mugs. I love it. It's got nice, it's embossed. I got it from Pier 1 Imports before they closed down here in Canada anyways. It's a great mug. Okay. Oh, Darlene from Prince George. Okay, I gotta say, I was thinking about this morning because I don't like to keep you guys too long because everybody's busy. Well, maybe. We were busier before all this happened. But I want to come on sometime and we're just going to do like a random chit chat. Just come on in here and we just chat and talk. And I think it would be super fun. Good morning, Beth. Beth, I was telling everybody I have to look down on my phone here because I can't really see everybody on my computer. It's a long story. It's a tech thing. But anyway, I thought it would be super fun sometime if we just do like a random chit chat, just like come on in the afternoon or something and whoever wants to come on and we literally just talk about whatever, like whatever. You post whatever you want to talk about. I'll talk about anything. And I think that would be super fun. But this morning, I want to keep it a little bit more to topic because I don't, want to keep you guys too long. So, okay. So I'm going to start off by saying, in case you don't know me, my name is Lita, and I want to just mention that I am not a doctor. Okay. So what I like to do is I like to tell you stuff that I hear from doctors and keto doctors and stuff out there. And I'm totally passionate about keto and natural health. And I just love to pass on the information, but I myself am not a doctor. So please do not take what I say as medical advice. Please do your own research and decide for yourself what's right for you. But good morning, Brenda. Okay, so I'm going to jump on about the topic today. And the topic today is OMAD, which is 1 meal a day. 1 meal a day is something that I was really embracing for a while. And like I said, I'm not quite sure when I sort of started going off of it or whatever. We all try different things. And I think I started getting into more longer fasts, to be honest with you. I was really pushing like the whole calendar year of 2019, I was really pushing my fasting. And so I think I looked at it like the more I could do 3-day fasts, 4-day fasts, whatever. I was really trying to push it. Now, of course, and I've mentioned this before in the group, we don't want to be doing really long fasts like that. It's my opinion and the opinion of a lot of keto doctors out there that is just not good right now. We want to really keep our immune system strong. And when you do really long fasts, I'm talking over 48 hours, it can temporarily lower, our immune system. So it temporarily rises our cortisol levels just for a short period of time. But in that little window, there is opportunity. And I just don't know if it's such a great idea to be lowering our immune system. So I really think it's best to stay for 40 hours. That's a whole other topic. But anyways, OMAD is only 1 meal a day. And as far as I'm concerned, it is the perfect way to fast. And I'll tell you why. Okay, I'm going to go back. I'm going to backtrack here. You know me, I go off on tangents all the time. Okay, I'm going to go back to why I think I got myself where I was, say like a week ago or whatever. Like many of you, lost my mojo, wasn't feeling it. I fully admit I went off and ate some crap. I felt like crap and I ate crap. It wasn't great for me. Beth loves OMAD. Awesome. I'm going to try and read these as I go along. The phone is small. So I'm trying to read, but I can actually see it pretty good. So when all this craziness started in the world, you know, the world is so different than it was even a month ago. And like, I'm sure you guys too, I was just trying to figure out, you know, how to be, right? And I didn't feel like I kind of had it in me to do my usual, right? And so back then my usual was longer fasts and my great keto and all my power foods and all that kind of stuff. And I just wasn't feeling it. So then I started, okay, well, if I don't want to be so strict, how could I be a little bit more easy on myself? So I started with, well, of course, had my 2 fatty coffees a day. For the longest time before, I had taken sweeteners out of my coffee. And that's a topic I think I'm going to talk about that next week. So that's a whole other topic. But I had taken sweetener out of my coffee. Now, when I was feeling a little bit like, kind of want to be easy on myself, oh, I really miss my stevia. So I started putting stevia back in my coffee. Okay, so that's what I started doing in my fatty coffee. Then I decided, well, I don't really want to fast so much. It's feeling a little bit more difficult. So I think I'll eat 2, maybe 3 times a day. Alrighty, so by adding the sweetener back in my coffee, I was raising my insulin. I know that about myself, and that's true for many, many people. And then when that started to happen, that's when I started to become more hungry. And then I started adding more meals. So I was having 2 fatty coffees a day, and I was eating 2 to 3 times a day. That's a 4 to 5 times a day insulin spike. So no way was I losing any fat. It's not possible. In the presence of insulin, your fat will not be utilized. That is a fun fact. It's a truth. So that's like 4 or 5 times a day. And I was getting hungrier and hungrier. My glucose was rising. And then it was so easy to say yes to the chocolates and yes to the chips and yes to that night that I went to McDonald's that I talked about in Keto Confession. So it just became easier and easier. And I was losing my superpowers, as I call it. I just wasn't feeling the groove anymore. And I'm sure you guys can totally relate. Good morning, Julia. I'm sure you guys can totally relate. Did I say hi to Lisa? Lisa, I don't know if I said hi to you, but good morning. Lori says, I lost my mojo too. Yeah, and it's really easy to do. It's super easy to do when we allow ourselves certain things that increase our glucose. So that right there, coupled with stress, some anxiety, uncertainty. I mean, you throw it all into there. And like I said a couple of weeks ago, it's like gas on the fire. It just like blows it up. And then it's no wonder this happens. So I'm not feeling bad at all about what I have done or haven't done or whatever. It's more been about, for me, how do I get myself back? Because honestly, I totally missed the energy. It's not even about losing more weight or anything like that. I totally missed the energy. I started not sleeping as well. I definitely started feeling more anxiety. And it wasn't just because of everything going on. It's like I could feel it in the pit of my stomach. And I was eating grains and I was eating crap and I could totally feel it. So anyways, that's sort of like a little bit of how I got to that place. Oh, I see Brenda has a question here. Quick confession. Oh, I love that. Okay, let's see if I can read that there. Quick confession. I was snacking on bad stuff, then I'd feel guilty and eat bacon as a chaser, the things we do. Well, the bacon part isn't so bad, of course. I mean, that's better. But then, of course, if we're eating a whole bunch of carbs and then we throw on a whole bunch of fat, sometimes that can backfire too, right? So Yeah, that's definitely something that I have done many times myself. Okay, OMAD is hard for me. Fasting is easier. Well, Kimberly, to each their own. To each their own. I'm going to tell you about OMAD because I really want to tell people that don't know about it. Okay, and then we'll talk. And then you guys definitely post in here if you do it, and then I'll circle back to that. Okay, so I'm going to get to my notes here. Right. Okay. Here's the reason why I love OMAD so much. I love eating one meal a day so much because it takes the pressure off of even having to think about what I'm going to eat all day. There literally is nothing to think about because I'm not eating anything all day long. So it's super easy, right? It takes all that pressure off. The other thing I really love about it is that it takes away all of my hunger. I don't have any hunger at all. Now, I'm going to talk about different ways that you can do it. And everyone's different in how they feel. And also the longer that you've been doing keto, the easier it's going to be. And we're going to talk about the best way to get into it. But I love it for me because it totally takes away my hunger. I did a little swig here. Okay. Now, it's totally up to you how you want to do it. The way I do it is I make it my dinner. I find it really enjoyable to have something to look forward to for dinner. Usually the family is around, so I'm making a good dinner, and it kind of gets me excited for trying new recipes and stuff because I'm like, ooh, I haven't eaten all day. Now I'm going to eat at dinner time. So that's kind of exciting. I watch the stuff that you guys post and I get really good recipe ideas and stuff. So I save that for dinner time. Now let me talk about how to start it. Okay. So like for me, because I've been doing keto a long time, I can jump on and jump off pretty quickly. Though I will say that if I've gone off pretty badly, I gradually get back into it for a couple of days. That makes me feel better. But like, let's just say that you've never done it before. I highly recommend that you've done regular keto for a while, like at least a few weeks, but 4 to 6 weeks is ideal. So you can get fat adapted. You don't have to, you absolutely do not have to. You literally could just jump in and do this. I will just say that if you have been doing keto for a while, it will be very, very easy for you compared to if you haven't and then you just jump into one meal a day. Personal preference. I just really like myself to feel really fat adapted beforehand because then I'm less likely to have hunger and less likely to binge. And that's what happens to me. If I feel the carbs surging or whatever, I can be a binger and I don't want to be a binger. So so ideally you will start slowly and you will work your way up. So you're doing your regular keto for 4 to 6 weeks. That's going good. Then you would omit your breakfast. Do that for a little bit till that feels really comfortable. Then you would omit breakfast and lunch. Do that for a while till it feels comfortable. And then you would have your dinner. And again, you can do this at lunchtime or whatever. I'm just going to say dinner for the sake of ease. And that's what I really like. Now, the question comes in, and I know someone's probably already said it, is having a fatty coffee during the fast. Now, there has been lots of different information out there, but I'm going to tell you that all of the keto doctors, all of the regular doctors that talk about intermittent fasting, and all of the keto doctors are all saying yes, yes, yes to having a fatty coffee, but depending on what you put in it. So in my fatty coffee, I have MCT oil, high in C8, of course I have mine. And I also use my MCT oil powder. And the reason why I use both is because I want a nice good hit of fat. And also I just love the combo. I just love the creaminess. You could absolutely use either one. And if you have your own MCT oil or whatever, you can totally use that. But what I'm going to suggest that you do not put in your coffee if you are doing OMAD or any type of intermittent fasting is collagen. And I know a lot of you do like to have collagen in your coffee. But the thing is that technically breaks the fast. So I would recommend having it not in your fasting time, unless you're not really doing intermittent fasting, like you're putting it in your coffee and then you're having some breakfast or whatever, and you're just doing your regular keto, and then that's totally fine. I'm saying for the purpose of what breaks a fast, the collagen would break the fast. And also sweeteners. And this is what's really, really hard for me because I love my stevia so much. I really have a sweet tooth and I love, love, love my stevia. But there is so much proof out there that says that it raises your insulin, even though there's no calories. And you can do your own research on this. Dr. Fung talks about it in the Obesity Code, that book. He talks about in there. So many keto doctors talk about this. You can literally just Google it, or you can look on YouTube. And the funny thing was I was in denial for the longest time about this, because I was also using my MCT products. So when I would test myself with my glucose meter, it would show that everything was fine, but it was a little bit disguised because my glucose was going down and my ketones were going up because of the normal fasting, but also because of the MCTs really help with that. And so it was disguising the fact that the sweeteners alone were actually raising my glucose and lowering my ketones. So then I did my own testing experiments using just black coffee and stevia. And I posted that in the group the other day, and I think I stored it in Unit 6. And you guys can see that 2 Fit Docs did their own testing. Oh, actually, that one was the one with MCT oil. Sorry. I'll find the one where they did with sweeteners, because that one's a really good one too. If I don't have it in there, I will get it and I will post it today. It's a really, really good experiment that they did. Anyways, sorry, sidetracking. So in the fatty coffee, if you're only having MCT oil, or maybe you just want to have a little bit of coconut oil, or even if smidgy, heavy whipping cream, right? You could do that too. I am leery on that myself because there is protein in it and some natural sugar. So I stay away from that, and I just stick to my MCTs. And so that I will have in my OMAD day. So I for sure have one first thing in the morning. That's a for sure. And then if I feel like I want to have one, around noon or in the afternoon or whatever, I will. I kind of go with how I feel. And so then I have my regular dinner. And I am telling you, this has really changed things for me in this last, week or so that I've been talking about. I've been really struggling trying to get back. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh man, how come I haven't done that for a long time? And then I started doing it, and I cannot believe the difference. I'm just going to tell you, I feel so energetic. I feel so much more like myself. I didn't realize how much I wasn't like myself until I had really gone off. And I'm not saying OMAD is for everyone necessarily, but it's always been really good for me. And I know a lot of other people really like it too. Kelly says she really likes stevia in her coffee. And you know what? I mean, Kelly, do your own test. The only way you're really going to know for yourself is if you have a blood glucose meter, and then you could test yourself, before you have your coffee, and then drink your coffee. But in order to really test it, you're going to have to do it just with your stevia. No cream, no MCTs, no anything. Don't eat anything. Literally black coffee and stevia, drink it. 30 minutes or so later, take your glucose test and see if there's any changes. But I will say, Dr. Fung says that sometimes there might not be much of a noticeable difference on the glucose meter. That doesn't mean that it's not happening inside your body. There still are changes. And we really want to keep our insulin flatlined. We don't want it to raise during this OMAD time. So, you can tell yourself, I was in denial. I was honestly in denial. I didn't want to admit it because I just loved it so much. But it is actually true. I've just read way too much research on it to prove otherwise, and I have tested on myself. So it's totally up to you. If I'm having a normal breakfast, or if I'm eating or whatever, and then I'm having a coffee around that time, oh, damn straight, I put the stevia in because I figure I'm having an insulin response anyways. So I'm going to put that stevia in and just enjoy it in that time. I'm just saying, when I'm not having anything else and I really want my body to get into fat burning mode, then I'm not putting the stevia in. So that you can determine that for yourself, what you want to do. Okay. So I have notes here, but of course I just go off on my own tangents, but I'm going to read some things from my notes because I don't want to miss it. So talking about the MCTs, in case you don't know, the MCT oil, especially if it's super high in C8 like mine is, it skips the digestion altogether, goes right to the liver and up to the brain. Okay. So you're not even igniting your digestion whatsoever. And that's why it works so well when you're fasting or even not fasting. I talked about the okay. All right. So I'm just reading from my notes here and then we'll just chit chat. Ideally, you'll try to go as long as you can go for an OMAD. There are so many health benefits, and I'm going to actually go down a full list of the health benefits. And it's great if you can go 24 hours. That would be the ideal scene if you could go 24 hours. But if you can't, that's totally fine. A lot of people, they just go with how they feel. So have the window, whatever works for you. Some people have a 4-hour window. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep it to a 1-hour window. That's what I'm trying to do. But there was like a couple of days ago, I was like, no, it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I actually feel like starting to eat now. And so then I itch my nose. I know we're not supposed to touch our face, but dear Lord. So I started eating at 3 o'clock. I mean, I just think the longer that you can go all day, the better. And that's what I've been trying to do. And oh man, I just feel so great now. I just can't believe it. Okay. I want to go through the health benefits. Okay. So for anybody that doesn't know, these are some of the health benefits to any fasting, but specifically for OMAD. Okay. It saves time and money. It takes away hunger and cravings. Blood sugar goes down. It improves digestion, improves immunity, creates growth hormones, better skin. I notice my skin immediately within a couple of days. It's just really good. Like I do notice that difference. It creates growth hormones, which is something that we lose over the age of 30. We don't create them on our own, but it actually creates growth hormones. So anti-aging, aging backwards, those are all really good for us. Increased energy and mental clarity. It improves our mood. I have noticed that huge for myself. Your ketones get higher. It decreases inflammation. I've noticed that too. I was starting to get a little bit puffy down in the ankles again when I was going off, and now that's all gone. Now I have an ankle bone again. It turns the body into a fat burning machine. It literally does. For all the time that you're not eating food during that time, your body is utilizing your fat stores. Your muscle mass improves. Okay, it actually improves. I don't have any like specific data to tell you, but I was on a couple of YouTube videos with some keto doctors yesterday, and they were specifically talking about how it actually improves muscle mass when you're fasting, which seems kind of counterintuitive, but it actually does. And then this is specifically from the keto doctors. Okay, I gotta get my little list here so I can actually read it. Okay, they say blood pressure, heart disease, dementia, fatty liver, diabetes, insulin resistance, autophagy, because the cells are repairing themselves, and stem cells are repaired. Okay, so that's actually coming from them medically type stuff. That is really, really exciting. The stuff that's kind of happening in the background that we don't even realize. And so I wanted to talk about OMAD because in the group, we have talked a lot about different types of fasting. And I think a lot of people think you have to do like 3 days, or you have to do really long fasts in order for it to count, in order for it to really do something powerful. And that's simply not true. To be honest, even at 12 hours, even if you were just skipping breakfast, you're doing a lot of the things that I just talked about. But the longer you can push it in the day, the better, as far as these health benefits is what I'm saying, and getting into more of the fat burn. But you can do less, and it totally does a lot of the stuff too. And then Ruby, I'll talk about that, the food that I prefer for OMAD. I will definitely talk about that. Because the next part I was going to talk about is how do I break my fast? So the way that I like to break my fast is kind of like what we talk about in the 3-day bone broth cleanse, which is in unit, I changed them all around here, 5. Unit 5. And if you look in the program there, right in it, I have a break your cleanse drink, but it's, can be for fast too. That particular drink is what I always use to break my fast or my cleanse. It's really, really good. It has fat in it, apple cider vinegar. It's a really good, I know a lot of people in the group use that. So that's usually what I start, unless I'm in a hurry or something. That's usually what I do. And then, what else? Oh yeah. Then I really love to start getting into my power foods. And I think you guys remember when I was talking about my power foods day, that I put in unit 3, in case anybody's wanting to know. They're super, super nutrient dense foods. They're things that don't go bad. They're easy to get. You can have on hand all the time. And then I really try and incorporate that. So for example, kimchi and sauerkraut is usually the first chewy thing, the first actual thing that I eat after I have the drink. I usually have a little bowl full of that. And then when in my dinner, which is going to be, you know, it's going to be meat, fish, chicken, whatever. It's going to be a good protein and a lot of veggies and some really good healthy fat. And I like to incorporate nutritional yeast with that. So, you know, if you look in unit 3, I have my Power Foods Day list. And it's a really good list of super good healthy foods that it's really good if you can incorporate into your day anyhow. But I specifically, for an OMAD day, I try to get in as much as I can in that one meal. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to read the questions in a second, but I wanted to talk about, I'm all over the place. I do really good if I can just sit here and talk to you. And then when I have to refer to my notes, it throws me off a little bit because I'm trying to make sure I get you all the information. So if I'm not answering something that you guys want to know, then definitely ask me. And I'll try to say it here. And if not, I will reply later. Now, one of the questions that a lot of times people have is, do I need to follow my macros if I'm doing OMAD? There are lots of schools of thoughts on that. And I think you should really do what works for you. So for me, during this kind of crazy time in the world, and I'm trying to make things easier on myself and not to be too hard on myself, I'm not actually tracking my macros, except for my carbs. I am tracking my carbs because it's really important to me that I do not go over on my carb count, because that for sure, I just know that for myself that derails me. But other than that, I'm kind of not. It might get to the point where I do, if I'm like, oh, I'm not really feeling the results, or maybe I just kind of feel like it, I'm kind of into it or whatever, and then I will. And again, different schools of thoughts on this too. Some experts will say eat all of your macros that you normally do in a day, but most of them say you do not have to. What happens when you're not eating for a long period of time and your body is utilizing your fat has vitamins and nutrients and minerals and all that kind of stuff. And your body is using that as it's using your fat. And calories, your fat is calories. So you don't necessarily need to eat all of your macros. It really depends on the person. I know a lot of men will say that they feel better if they eat higher, and a lot of women say that they feel better if they eat a little lower. I'm personally just kind of going with how I feel, and I'm eating all I want during that session that I'm eating, other than the carbs. Other than the carbs, I am watching the carbs, but other than that, I'm having whatever I want, and I'm listening to my body, and my body is saying, I'm full, don't eat anymore. Okay. So that's what I've been doing, and it's been working really good. Before I started this little OMAD experiment, I did weigh myself. I know I said I don't weigh myself. I don't very often, hardly ever. But after my little off time, I wanted to see what was happening, and it wasn't pretty. No, it wasn't pretty. But now I have a little bit of a baseline of where I was, and so I'll see how it goes with my new regime. Sorry, got a little something there. Okay, I want to go back here. I just have to look over here and see what people are saying. I want to chit chat with you guys. Oh, wow. We've got Alaska here. Oh my goodness. That is awesome. We're going to do a thing in the group of where everyone is. I'll post that today because I love seeing where everybody is from. Let me see here. Scrolling down. The phone's so tiny compared to I might have to wear my glasses sometimes. I can read it, but it's just a little bit smaller. Kelly says, I'm exercising a lot and eating 2 meals a day, and I'm losing absolutely no weight or inches. I do not know what else to do. Well, Kelly, we're going to need a little bit more information than that. And you can do your own post in the group if you want, or you can put it in here. But in order to really know what you're doing, I mean, exercise is great, but as they say, abs are made in the kitchen. So it's really what you're eating is going to be like number one, and exercise is super healthy and is really great for toning, but it's not necessarily going to help you losing weight. So we'd have to see a screenshot of your macros. How are you doing your keto? Are you intermittent fasting or what? So give us a little detail either here or do your own post, and we'll be very happy to help you with that. Julia, it's enlightening when you state the presence of glucose negates weight loss. So many type 2 diabetics speak about not losing when they first start keto, and this is the reason. I was one of them. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Diabetics should know this for sure. And what I was kind of in denial about, Julia, was I was thinking, well, I'm eating keto, I'm eating keto. So of course, right, I'm going to lose weight or whatever. But even when you're eating keto, unless it's like zero, like, you know what, that's not even true. I was going to say, even if it's zero carb, that's not even true, because when you're having your protein, there's an insulin response. There's always going to be some, it's not going to be as bad as carbs, but you're definitely going to have it. So the more frequently we eat, the more insulin response we're going to have. And so, yeah, that's why a lot of diabetics definitely struggle at the beginning until they get it down. OMAD. Kimberly says, I did OMAD a few days last week and did okay. Oh, awesome. That's great. I don't know when you say did okay, like if you were a little bit hungry or whatever, but definitely add some MCT to your coffee. Or if you don't drink coffee, you could have it in your tea, or you could just shot it. People do that too. That definitely helps. Just seeing if there's any questions. What about stevia and baking? Okay. So Pamela, yes. Have your stevia in your baking. But let me put it like this. If you're having it in your baking, when are you having your baking? So for me, and I'm talking specifically about OMAD or intermittent fasting, I'm not just going to wham in the middle of the day after not eating anything, just going to all of a sudden have my keto baking. So I'm going to save it for when I'm having my one meal. So say I have my dinner, and then after dinner, I want to have a couple keto cookies or a piece of keto brownie or whatever. I'm going to have it at that time. I'm already having an insulin response during that meal. I'm having my protein and I'm having some carbs. That's going to happen already. So that's what I do, is I have it during that time. And I guess what I would say is, if you're eating, I don't know how you're doing your keto, Pamela, but if you're eating 3 meals a day, then if you're having it with one of your meals, that's fine, or 2 meals a day, or like, but I wouldn't just have it by itself, just like I'm not putting it in my coffee all by itself, because I don't want to have any type of an insulin response. Okay. Lowry says, I love OMAD. I feel like it's the next logical step. Once you've been solid and comfortable in keto, my body naturally starts leaning that way. Absolutely. And that's where I think I really struggled when I kind of went off and I said I lost my mojo and stuff, is that that wasn't really me. That really wasn't how I have become over the years of being keto. I just knew that it didn't feel right for me. And now getting back into not eating as often and now doing OMAD, now it feels like me. It feels like how my body is supposed to run. The energy that I have and the clarity that I have feels so much more like myself. So I totally understand what you're saying, Lowry. And then I think I answered, Ruby, what food do you prefer for OMAD? When I'm having my meal, I'm having my power foods. I'm getting those in. And then, of course, all my usual keto faves, like obviously good protein. I try to get in lots of veggies, like get in the most I can, drizzle on my fat. If my favorite thing is, like, I love bacon fat. I just love it. So every time I make bacon, I always save the fat in the fridge. And then anytime I'm cooking, I'm doing a stir fry or anything with veggies, or I'll just melt it in the microwave and drizzle it on the top. That's what I like to add to my dinner. I really like that, because I'm already getting my MCTs during the day. I will say that. I mean, MCT oil in my coffee, I'm already getting that during the day. But if you're like, don't want to have that and you just want to have zero calorie all day, that's a personal preference. Then having, an MCT oil on your salad or something is really good. But by dinner time, I've already had. So I like to have the bacon fat. It's just so delicious. There's just nothing like bacon fat. Debbie, what beverages do you consume during the day? Well, my coffee, I have a couple of those. I drink lots and lots of water. I do have my electrolytes. So I will say that I do have, and I kind of go with how I feel. This is not a for sure I have to have it like all the time, but I do have my keto BHB. And I will say, because this, is a bit counterintuitive to what I just said about how there is stevia in here, but because it's a beta hydroxybutyrate product, there really is no, in that sense, there really is no negative to having a little bit of stevia in there, because it more than makes up for it. So I do have that drink once or twice a day if I'm feeling it. I literally just go with how I feel, but I do have electrolytes anyways. Like I will make up a drink first thing in the morning with my apple cider vinegar and my psyllium. You guys know about that one. I have that in unit 4. I talk about that because I have that every morning, and I put in my potassium citrate, and I already take magnesium on its own, and I put in a pinch of salt. So I'll have that type of a drink a couple of times a day for sure. Lemon water. I have lemon water during the day. I find, honestly, once I'm in the groove like this, I'm just so busy that it's more water than anything. But I actively try to get in my electrolytes. Like I have to think about it. I actually put it on my phone so I remember. But I find like I'm not even thinking about having anything. Oh, and I want us to talk really quickly about Diet Pop. That kind of goes in with what I was saying before about the stevia. Dr. Fung talks about that in his obesity code. I'm sure that's what it's called. Darn it, I don't have it here, but I'm sure that's what the book is called. And he talks about in there, and it's like people think they can just have their Coke Zero or whatever. And I'm not even going to talk about the health part about that at all. I'm only just going to talk about the sweetener in it, the aspartame. And it's like, yes, it's 0 calories. And if you're super in a pinch and you feel like you absolutely have to have it, well, do what you got to do. But that's going to raise your insulin. It's going to raise your insulin, even though there's no calories. And so that can bring on hunger. So I just wanted to mention that as part of the stevia talk there. Yes. What Lori said right here is very true. I'm just talking about not having it in your coffee when you're trying to fast. Absolutely. Hey, Zach, how's it going? Some people in here that I haven't seen for a long time. Good morning. Okay. Just going to see if there's any other questions. Anything that I didn't answer in here, I will definitely pop in later. I just don't want to be on here too long. See, it's already 8:45. No, Ruby, electrolytes will not break your fast whatsoever. No, do not. Oh, Lowry, thank you. Thank you for my skin. But I will tell you, when I went off on my little, I don't even know what you call it, but lost my mojo time or whatever, I noticed like I got a couple little blemishy type things. I was not happy with that. I like to have good skin, and definitely OMAD helps me with that. So anyway, I'm pretty sure that I've gone over everything. I quickly look at my notes here. I'm pretty sure that's it. And so there is more information on OMAD in Unit 6. That's our unit on fasting and intermittent fasting. And we'll talk about more about this in the group. But for me, I'm just doing this as kind of my daily routine. This is what I'm doing now. Unless something comes up, I'm just doing OMAD as my everyday. I was doing it last year for a while, and I really, really enjoyed it. And like I said, I was getting into longer fasts, and I guess that's how I got out of the routine. But now I'm just doing it, and I just love it. Like I'm already not in a hunger way, but I'm already thinking about dinner, something yummy that I'm going to make. And I'll probably do a little prep work during the day or whatever, getting excited for that, but not in a hunger way. I will not have any hunger today whatsoever. I will have tons of energy. Yeah, so it's something that's working really good for me. If you guys have not tried it, think about it. And if you are just beginning, you're probably going to want to do regular keto for a while. And if you haven't done OMAD before at all, or any kind of fasting, then work your way up to it. Just work your way up and then get to the part where you're only having the one meal. And for those of you that say, oh, I don't think I can do it, I'm going to tell you that you can. Okay, I'm going to tell you that you can, because I was that person over a year ago who didn't think that she could go even 18, 20 hours without eating. And then I did OMAD, no problem. And then I worked my way up to an easy 4 days. That's not what we're talking about here, but you absolutely can do it. And it's really, really powerful and super, super good for you. So anyways, you guys give it a try. Let's talk more about it in the group and I'll answer any questions afterwards. And I hope you guys have a super awesome day. And now I'm going to have to try and figure out how to turn this thing off. I'm not totally sure. All right, you guys, have a good one. Bye. Hey guys, before you go, hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the bell notification so you can be notified every time we have a new video posted. Also, down in the description, I will have links to everything that we talked about in our chat today, including information on how you can join my Intentionally Bare Keto support group. See you next time.